Today we're going to work on a data analysis creative project. You are going to collect your own data to answer a question about something that interests you. I've given you 7 suggestions, but you don't have to choose any of these. You could create your own. But be sure that you choose 2 quantifiable variables. That means you can count those variables or you can measure them in some way. So the first question is, does eating breakfast affect sleep habits? So you could ask a question like, do you eat breakfast? Or that's hard to count. Yes or no is not really a good countable way. But you could say, okay, during the past 7 days, how many of those days did you eat breakfast? Then they could give you a number between 1 and 7. Or maybe in the past month, how many days did you eat breakfast? That would be something you could count. So you could ask it that way. And then sleep habits, you could ask questions like, how many hours of sleep did you get last night? How many hours of sleep do you get on average? Or something like that. So you don't want yes-no questions. You want questions that have a range of possible answers to get your best data. Do student athletes drink more water? You don't want to ask that as a yes-no question. You want to first ask how many athletic activities have you participated in the past, I don't know, since you came to high school. So they could give you a number, maybe 1 if I'm only in 1 sport, or 2 if I'm in 2, and so forth. How many ounces of water? So try to get a range of answers, never a yes-no question. Otherwise you don't get really enough to analyze. Once you've decided on your questions, or your question, and you've decided how you're going to find out or collect data, you're going to create a form. And to do that, just go to your browser and type form.new, and it'll start a new form like this. It will be untitled, so you can change that to data analysis in your name, or you can put part of your question in there, whatever you want to title it. This is for you. But you're going to create your questions down here, so you could say, how many hours did you sleep last night? This could be, so you just type in your answers. And then it says response validation. You really want to keep that in there because you don't want them adding anything but numbers. Because if they put words in there, you're going to have to go take that out before you can really graph it or look at it. So it'll automatically include this usually, but if it doesn't, you can add it here on the bottom. It says response validation, so you can force the form to only accept a number answer. Mostly short answer is a good idea. You could do multiple choice if it's something that's like that, but I would probably just stick with short answer and use response validation. Now up on the right side here, this is where you're going to spend some time setting up your form. You need a title, maybe a description, but on the settings, you may need to change some of this. Like, you don't necessarily want to restrict this to just Pascagoula-Gaucher School District if you're going to be asking your parents or your family or someone like that to answer this form. So you'll want to take this off. You might want to limit it to 1 response, because if the same person answers multiple times, that could mess up your data. And I think the rest of this we don't really need to worry about. So just under general, you may want to, and you could select edit after submit. So let's say somebody submitted the data and they go, oh, that was wrong, can I fix that? Well, they could go and fix it if you change that to edit. So that's an option. To send, this is how you will share this form with your friends. You can send it via email, and you would type in their email addresses. You could get the link here, and you just copy the link, and you can email it to people or message it to people. You can even do this with like a phone. You can't do it at school, but you could do it at home. So you can send the link that way. You could send a link in Google Classroom to your friends. You could message them. Just however you want to send it to them. I would say email is probably the smartest way to get. And you could have it include, put their email address, tell them what's up. So here's the link. This is a place to embed it in a website. So if you have a website and you want to use that, you certainly can. That's up to you. But you do want to collect data from at least 8 people. if you don't have at least 8 data points, you're probably not going to get enough data to truly analyze it. So at least 8, 20 is probably best. So around 20 is a good goal, but don't stop till you get at least 8 people to respond to your survey. You can ask your classmates to respond. Now, what do you do after you respond, after you get your responses? You will go back to your form, which should be in your Google Drive automatically, and click on Responses. And then what will happen below here, you can't see anything because no one's responded, is the responses are going to appear on this page. But what you want to do is click right here where it says Create Spreadsheet. And then it'll say Create New Spreadsheet. And when you press Create, it's going to open up your Google Sheets. It's going to have a timestamp when they did it. If you have your email address selected, it'll put that in there too. You could ask the people for their name if you want to keep track of who's answered your survey, but you don't need to put that in your data because the only thing you need in your data are your 2 variables. So I only put 1 in here, but as soon as somebody answers this question, their numbers are going to appear in this column. And again, you want 8 data points. So the row 1 was for the title, so you need to get to 9 or maybe 21 would be better. So about to here. And there you have it. So in class, we've already learned how to copy. So you would copy your 2 columns and paste that into Desmos so that you could continue on with your project. Once you've gotten your form, you've collected your data, you've put it into Desmos, and you have, done all the things that you've been asked to do in your project. You'll answer your questions, and then you will submit your project. All of this will be in a Google Doc. If you have any other questions about how to collect your data or analyze your data, be sure to let me know.